Peace, everyone. I wanted to put together a simple video, reflection, invitation, a little bit of centering, give you some context for where I am intentionally. You'll notice to my left is I-70 in Denver, Colorado, so lots of speed, chaos, concrete, bypassing so much, and just real life in so many ways and in very complex ways. Considering when this video is being made, March 18th, 2020, in the middle of COVID-19. And to my right, sorry if you hear the wind, if the breeze, well, I don't say sorry, but the wind is with us. To my right is the Sand Creek. Water, trees, earth, nature, reaching in the middle of a city. So, just wherever this meets you, I just invite you to take a few deep breaths right where you are and just allow the sounds in this video to belong. The wind as it brushes against the microphone, the sound of the semi-trucks swooshing, flying past, and if you can catch it, the sound of the water as it rushes and flows. So just take a couple deep breaths all the way in and all the way out. That we breathe in paradox, complexity on the outside of our bodies, in our environments, in our physical spaces, residential spaces, in between the buildings, our virtual spaces, that we just breathe in complexity. And we breathe out complexity within each of us. All the layers, all the things that go on, the things we carry in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies. So just take a few more really deep breaths, honoring those things, the complexity in the outside and the complexity on the inside. Just connect to a place of humility, openness, wonder, honesty, authenticity. So I just wanted to offer a few thoughts, personal reflections on just this time that we're in, related specifically, but also just, I think, situationally beyond, both before and after, kind of the global, the universal, floating past and beyond even the specifics of COVID-19 and the coronavirus and some of those things swirling in our spaces, in our immediate spaces. And then I'm going to share a few practices and some ideas for invitation and movement towards the end, and just a couple notes and things to consider just in the days ahead. With so much imperfection, as always, this is my own unique rumbling, and I offer it to you in openness, and I am so eager for your feedback or your or just how it hits, how it lands as it reaches you, and any reflections and thoughts that you have as you invite it in. So I've been having two, and very much connected to the traffic and the chaos here and the flowing stream, and I have had such a hard time putting the English language in some ways to summarize or to put any frame around how I'm connecting or feeling or what I'm drawing out of this. And the things that are just coming up are related to, when we think about, and I'm going to tilt it here as we look at the highway, but I have so much angst, like rumbling waters, let's not use waters, kind of like a rumbling earth, like a rumbling core, and have that full time in this body, in this life. I'm often unsettled with the way things are as they are, and I'm constantly threading and casting out into the way I imagine that the world should be and the world could be, in a creative space, in an invitational space, in a spiritual practice place, in a walking practice space, all the different things. And so, related to coronavirus, but also to just universal systems and how we engage each other, to me there is so much what I would just imperfectly describe as artificial, false bullshit. There's just so much bullshit, beloveds, related to a literal feeding on our fears, on our insecurities, on our gaps when it comes to feeling resilient and strong. That there is so much at work, and this is beyond just my body, your body. This is beyond this is like systemic, energetic, spiritual, however you want to frame it, that is literally violating and hijacking and entering itself into panic and hoarding and taking and human separating and over isolating and I feel it's so strong. And of course, being someone who's in his late 30s, able-bodied, in some ways it's easier for me to say some of those things, and I still feel so strong that what we're seeing both in the virus itself but also in the reaction to the virus is such a mirror for, I think, our collective but also our personal capacity to be of a deeper way, to be of a more grounded way, a resilient way, a way that honors and dignifies and lifts and believes in the capacity of the human spirit, that believes in and honors and dignifies the capacity of the natural world and of the unknown. And so none of that is dismissing or even overly criticizing the need to be safe and the washing of hands and the awareness of space and who we're around and the responsibility of protecting each other and ourselves from the spread of this virus. So in no way is this a criticism of just the importance of those pieces. It's almost an energy of lashing out or challenging, moving energy against something that is, before this virus and hopefully even after the virus, but something that is floating with it and beyond it, related to all these different systems and energies that are trying to hijack and violate and define for us what does it mean to be human? What is human value? What is human worth? That my worth is my money, my job, my career, my transacting, my house, my security, and while those things are all very real, times like this when we are stunned in some way, are those genuine indicators, measurements of human worthiness? Our producing, our consuming, our hoarding of resources, our capacity to isolate. So it's just some invitation around holding the hand of what's responsible and real, and also holding the hand of abundance and of resilience and of this is making us stronger. This is helping us to share more with each other. This is helping us to be more undefended in this life. This is helping us to lean into our deeper capacities. This is helping us to be human beings of a planet and of a species that are connected and taking care of each other. So I'm just offering that as, as we look at this highway. So I just have so much energy around wanting to instill and infuse and collectively to have us move, not just like fluffy optimism in some sense, but like rooted, grounded. We have what it takes. I have what it takes to be a human being that isn't tied to lies and to a false way. But I am also uncovering and asking harder questions, going into my vulnerabilities and my pain and my secrets and my hardships and my fears and my shame and all the things, so that when spring meets us and when things start to blossom again, that I'm blossoming full with nutrients, with a greater sense of awareness, with a greater sense of connection and humility and belonging. So let's take a deep breath together after that. Beloved friends, I don't have the answers. It's just these are aches, and I'm inviting you into aches. There's so much space in between everything I just offered and shared, and it's so complex for each and every one of you, for me. And so I'm going to turn towards the river and the flowing stream, and the other part of this process for me has been the realm of compassion and the realm of flowing water, the realm of presence, the realm of just being attentive and patient and sensitive and open to just what is. So when I hear and I see the flow of running water, I'm always just reminded that, things are still moving, that we are all here, still breathing, trying in our own capacities, right where we are. And just the humble reminder for me to meet people, but even my own imperfections right where they are. Right where they are. And just having that spirit, having that capacity, having that energy in and of itself, moves and shows up and holds a lot of the chaos and the reacting and the hoarding and the just the things that show up when we don't feel like we have ground. And so just finding time to walk and to be with trees and to be with the water, to be with our 2 feet, or with the breeze and the slow movement if we move by wheelchair, to be with the call and the song of birds, to be with the clouds as they roll and shape and form above us, to be with the sunrise and sunset, and to thank Spirit, God, Earth for all of it, moment by moment. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And the other piece that flows alongside the water, and it even meets some of the chaos as well, but I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna lean for it to live more here, is this invitation to be always filtering in all of our thinking and our speech and our feeling and our discernment and our invitations. And again, this is always with imperfection, but invitation to honor people in our midst who don't have choices or options or capacities for, and I'll just be really specific, but they don't own a home. They're renting or sharing rooms. They don't have a car. They can't have a car. They can't afford a car. They physically can't drive a car. And so their only means of getting around is by bus or by transit. All the different industries, low income realities, life and death costs, day-to-day pay, like week-by-week paychecks. And so these big decisions to isolate and regulate in a culture that is rooted in so much capitalism and consumerism as a way of being, surviving, succeeding, living, that we are just like this river and like the trees, just extra sensitive to the unique experience of those that just don't have the choices. And so what does solidarity look like when we are truly in relationship with and truly considering the lived experience realities of all these different bodies, faces, families moving through this time? What kinds of creative networks, like offerings, opening of doors, sharing of meals, sharing of money and accounts and resources, sharing of shelters and homes and offices, like this opening of, like, I just picture it as the river and as the trees reach out into the sky, and as the river makes its way, to visualize those as the palms of hands that have been clinging for real world, valid or not, whatever, meeting you right where you are for whatever. How do I cling? What do I cling to? And how can an invitation and a time like this help me literally open my palm with all that I think I have and own and occupy in my space? How do those things truly move into the we, into the collective? And so it's more just questions around that. It's aching around that. It's the hunger and the opportunity to be in creative, forward mindset, heart set, body set, gut set, that we are blessing and nourishing our artists to be freely creating in this time so that they can be in the front lines, imagining projects and gatherings and song and so just rooting in these aches with me, meeting each of you right where you are, sending you love and grace and humility and openness and wonder. The spaces between, just the chaos of our time, and the contentment and groundedness and presence that's all around us and within us. So let's just take a couple more deep breaths. Just feeling your feet, feeling your heart, maybe putting your hand on your heart. Noticing your hands, your shoulders, your body, your breathing. Leaning into gratitude. So a couple of notes, if you're still with me, 21 minutes later, hopefully this will not go past 25. Good night. Blessings to each of you for being here with me. 3 things I want to just offer. The first is the Ways of Walking workshop. Many of you went through some of it as I was launching it. It's now open to the public. I can't stress some of those practices enough, that the art, the capacity, the potential, the creative possibilities when we allow and protect and organize more time for walking, what actually happens in the plasticity and neuro communication wires of our brain, like we can create our way into such a beloved, more human, more interconnected time. And I really believe walking is one way that can help us physically, physiologically activate that as a people. So please consider sharing that, taking that workshop. Again, inviting your people, your teams into it. The second thing is to I'm going to be posting more of the current series, Embodied Proximity. And so this current theme that we're in, routes and stops, is rooted in transit and bus, train, shuttle reality. So just inviting you to take some extra time to consider the needs and the lived experience of those who have no choice but to move this way. And how can we be engaged, connected, supportive, and showing up for those unique experiences right where we live. Bus stops, routes, committees that are trying to discern how to support transit in this time where we do need to be responsible with how we interface with each other. So all those layers that you lean into how you can engage and be a part of sharing and spreading helpful, resourceful information, helping to think about creative strategies. And just stay tuned for these other embodied proximity invitations, because they're going to route into a 1 to 3 mile radius around where you live, work. And just please, as always, be invited to invite others to be a part of this Patreon community. The third thing is just a thank you to each and every one of you for how you uplift and sustain and help sustain and come alongside my creative work and being in this life. Without patrons, without Patreon, I would not be able to do 95% of the things I'm able to do and imagine. And while it's a very thin rope at times because of life and expenses, it is a rope nonetheless that allows me to just be in these edges, listening, creating, moving things, supporting others, organizations, individuals in ways I could never imagine. So thank you, each of you, for your blessing and your nourishment. And we are in this together, beautiful humans. We are in this together. So any thoughts, any reflections, anything that comes up as you hear and listen and receive the aches that I shared on this video, just really felt the need to connect to you specifically. And this video is public, so feel invited to share it if there's folks that might be curious to some of this unique offering. So from Denver, Colorado, somewhere between the chaos and the lowly hum. Okay, peace and love.